Dear seekers, we are very happy to be again and to share some important values based on spirituality in connection with religion. Most of us are religious persons. At the same time, we have the spiritual search. How we can connect our own religious perspective and the spiritual reality. If you look at religion with the perception of a deep spirituality, Buddha, Jesus, and Prophet Muhammad and other masters had a deep personal experience before they initiated their own journey. They had a profound experience that motivated them to enter into their journey of seeking. So, we do believe that all religions have truth in it, and that people can be both truly beautiful seekers and religious persons at the same time. We have to be religious persons and beautiful seekers. But ultimately, anything that separates us or creates division is not good, and certainly not good for the greater good of mankind. Spirituality reminds us that we are not separate. There are no borders, no races, no cultural divisions. All that is true is that we are all one, and the only invariable path is love. People can different paths seeking fulfillment and happiness in their life. Just because they are not on our road does not mean that they have lost the way. Since we are bound by time and place, we have to follow the path that is available to us. The path is open to all persons. Buddha says, "Go your ways, O monks, for the benefit and happiness of many, out of compassion for the world, for the good, for the benefit and happiness of men. Teach which is beneficial in the beginning, in the middle and at the end, both the spirit and letter of it. Make known the noble life which is fully complete and pure." That is our search. We are called to move, we are called to go, not only for our benefit, for the benefit of many, for the happiness of many, out of compassion of the world, for the good and benefit and happiness of all people. For that we have to teach through our search, not by words, through our life, which is good from the beginning, at the middle, even at the end. Make known the noble life. Make known the noble life, the great life of humanity, which is fully complete and pure. We are called for that. That should be the integration of our religious understanding and the spirituality. We have to move towards the fullness of life. Jesus told his disciples, if any man would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. What is that? Let him deny himself. Deny your inner self. Remove your own darkness. Remove your own attachments. Remove your own selfish attitudes of life. That is, deny yourself. If I am in darkness, I have denied the darkness. Whatever is wrong, whatever is a burden, I have to remove them and take my cross. My own responsibility of life, my own responsibility of knowing myself, my own exercise of the process of attainment. Then follow me, follow the Guru, follow the Master, follow your inner self. Your inner self itself is the Guru. That should be the real consciousness we have to understand before we think of religion and spirituality. Again, Jesus says, I am the light of the world. He who follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. If we have found out this, the truth within us, there will be no darkness. I am the light. It is the consciousness of my own self. I am the light of my world. If I say, Jesus says, I am the light of the world, it may be a religion. If I say I am called to be the light of the world, then I come to the spirituality. He who follows me, he who follows the light, he who follows the inner light, he who follows the true consciousness will not be in darkness. Will have the light of life. That is very important. It is the light of life. Life itself is light. My own life itself is light. All my situations are light. All my inner self is light. I will be in light always and everywhere. By following a path, we have to purify our inner self. That is the exercise of religion. By following a path, a religion, it has to purify me so that I may go beyond. Being in purity or impurity depends on myself. It depends on myself. Purity and impurity are terms that can define a person. It's not a reality outside. The purity is within me. The impurity is within me. They are the terms that define a person. We have the ability and freedom to be a pure person or to be an impure person. That depends on us. If I want, if I have the situation to be free, I can. Otherwise, I can't. The decision is ultimately upon us. Nobody else can decide for us. Nobody can decide for us. No religion can decide. It is my personal experience with the Supreme Reality. For that, the religion may help me, that's all. It may give some codes, it may give some formalities, it may give some guidance. Even the scriptures may give some guidance to me, but I have to decide. There starts the spirituality. Religion is a path of self-purification. Purity is something we are all striving for, and hope to achieve. Pure person means no regret, no anxiety towards the future or the past. He is a pure person who has no regrets, no anxiety. Let whatever comes by nature, let it come on its own way. Okay, I cannot change. I cannot change the nature. I cannot change the so many things happening in my surroundings, but let it come. But pure person means no regrets or anxiety towards the future or the past. Pure person believes in the inner power and try to grow every day. That is another aspect. He is trying always. That is the exercise. That is the consciousness. That is awareness. Finding out the means and possibilities to grow every day. The pure thoughts are essential. We should have a pure thought because they shape our being. Our thoughts automatically are shaping our personality. So we have to have a pure thoughts to shape ourselves. Our daily thoughts gradually become what we are. Most of the time, religious practices, their religious routines, we do so many things and we are what we are doing and what we are thinking. Here we have to make a change. Our daily thoughts gradually become what we are. Our thoughts describe the kind of person that we want to be, how we want to be. Our thoughts describe the kind of person that we want to be, what we want to be. The real spiritual search is basically a decision making within us. Buddha's thoughts lead to become Buddha. The thought of Christ leads to become Jesus Christ. The mind is everywhere. What we think, we become. It is not thinking, oh, one day this, tomorrow something else, day after tomorrow something else. No, here it is a coherence, a continuity of thought. What we think, we become. The thoughts turn into actions and actions turn into character. Every day we are doing a lot of actions, maybe religious action, social action, family action or personal action, etc. Thoughts turn into actions. How we do, that is very important thing. The actions turn into characters. They become the characters. What I do in my daily life, it becomes my character. It becomes my own personal thing. The inner self is the powerful aspect of the human body. The inner self is the powerful aspect of the human body. Our thoughts are powerful and they can drive us to attain what we hope for. Our thoughts are powerful and they can drive us to attain what we hope for. So first of all, we have to purify our thought, the manner of thinking and other aspects of our daily life. Then it becomes gradually purified to have the purity of ourself. In our daily life, we constantly practice some form of religion, some form of piety, some form of regular actions. After making so much effort, there should be some kind of result. But we do not know what kind of results we should get. But we just keep on practicing as the routine. Why I do something in a routine way? why I do something every day in a same manner? Is it needed or not? How it helps me to grow? It is the question made by the great sages of our ancient times. They questioned us, why I do this, why I go there, why I practice this, how it helps me to attain the inner conscious. There comes a real understanding of religion and spirituality. Most people say, I don't want to be a religious person, I don't want to be a member of any religion. Why they say means they are saying they are packed with some practices, norms, some regulation, this and that, and they say, I don't practice any religion, but I want to be a spiritual person. They are one way correct to say like that. They don't want to be a religious person. They don't want to be a person just to practice something. Even to practice something itself is not religion. But religion itself is going beyond the practice. Then the beyondness leads to the spiritual inner self. We just keep on practicing the routine actions. We do some business, get profit, get married, have children, and buy a house with the intent that it will give us peace. But it brings us misery also. Most of the time, we have a lot of intention to have so many things. If I have so many things, I think I can live in peace. But on the contrary, we have a lot of miseries, problems. How can we become free from misery and attain permanent happiness? It is said that if we attain liberation or salvation, then we not only become free from misery, but become free from our inner bondages as well. If we attain liberation, then we are not only become free from external miseries, but become free from our inner bondages as well. That is very, very important. As long we have the inner bondages, we cannot be free. We will have all the miseries. Religions speak of liberation or salvation and attainment of heaven. How can we understand it? Is it true or false? All the religions speaks about liberation, fulfillment, moksha, attainment of heaven like that. Is it possible or not? It is something reality that is experienced within us. When we become free from ignorance of the self, then we attain a stage that is free from all unhappiness. That is the first stage of liberation. When we become free from ignorance of the inner self, then we attain a stage which is free from all unhappiness. We go to the next stage. In this stage, we will be conscious that we are doing something different than what we did before this consciousness. In this stage, we will be conscious that we are doing something meaningful, we are doing something great, different from than what we did before. That is the change, that is the progress, that is the spiritual journey. From this experience, we will be able to see our own limitations and mistakes. First of all, self-consciousness or spiritual seeking is finding out our own limitations, our own mistakes, our own problems based on the limitations of our body and mind. It is the sure proof that we have achieved the first stage of liberation. If we are able to know our own limitations, our own situations, our own mistakes, there we come to the first stage of liberation. For that, the religion has to help. For that, we should be religious person. For that, we have to have some meaningful practices every day. This awakened inner self of the person is impartial. If you are awakened, if you are able to understand your own limitations, you become impartial. You never bother about your own likes and dislikes. We can know this because we are the true inner self. We are the true inner self. And it is the greatest judge in this universe. Our inner self is the greatest judge. It is judging us. It is helping us. It gives directions how we have to pass on. Is such freedom, liberation experienced while we are living, or is it coming after death? Can we attain this liberation here and now, or it is only after death? What is the use of having freedom after death? Can it help me to live a better life? This is how people are misled into promises of heaven or moksha after death. Okay, it may be a final stage, but we should be able to experience or get a taste of it right now and here. I should have the taste of liberation and freedom here and now. Otherwise, how can one be sure whether there is such a thing as liberation? How can we understand that we can be liberated or whether we can be redeemed? We should be able to experience this divine reality while we are living. We have to experience the liberations while we are living. At least a kind of initial stage. To make sure of this liberation in our present life, for that also Jesus says, "Truly, truly I say to you, unless one is born anew, he cannot see the kingdom of God." He cannot attain the liberation unless one is born anew. That is the self-consciousness of knowing one's own self. Again he says, "Truly, truly I say to you, unless one is born of water and the Spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God." What is that? The water and the Spirit. That is the true qualities of spirituality. Water, grace, purity, and the simple Spirit, the strength, the power, the capacity, the vitality. Water signifies love, compassion, concern for others. The Spirit signifies physical, psychological, mental and spiritual capacities we give, so that all the capacities should be transformed. That is another consciousness we should have. Unless one is born of water, that is born in getting a new birth in compassion and in self capacity, in service for others. That is why what is born of the flesh is flesh, and which is born of the Spirit is spirit. We are not only the body, not only the flesh. We have to go deeper and deeper and deeper. There we understand your own inner spirit. There we have to reborn. As long as we practice religion in our external forum, It may not help us, but it has to lead us to enter into the real spirituality of the real inner spirit. The process of life is marked by different stages of changes and newness. That is the new birth, that is the awareness, that is the consciousness, that is the enlightenment. The process of life is marked by different stages of change and newness. Each stage is guided by the inner spirit, and we are becoming a new person. Self-realization is also a process happening within us in different stages, and religion can be a help to a person in this process. Self-realization is also a process happening within us in different stages, and religion can be a help to a person in this process. How we can understand this process? After attaining this newness caused by the inner realization, we remain as the knower, a conscious person, without any attachment to likes and dislikes. After attaining this consciousness, we are a balanced person. We are not pushed and pulled by our own imaginary likes and dislikes. We live without any attachment to our likes and dislikes. The inner self is able to know its reality and remains in eternal peace. It knows its reality and remains. It is not moved, agitated by whatever happening in our inner physical body or external self. Moreover, the inner self never dies. It is eternal and indestructible by nature. We are eternal persons. As long as we look as limited with our physical and psychological capacities, we feel as a limited person. But our understanding is changed from limitedness to fulfillment, eternal. We are not destructible. Death is not an end in itself. Once we have attained liberation and experienced the heaven within, we remain in the infinite bliss of the self. That is important. Once we attained liberation and experienced the heaven within, we remain in the infinite bliss of the self. While being the knower of the whole universe, including the existence of humans, animals, plants, and other life forms. All the external forms are including the knower of this whole self. I am become the knower of everything in communion with my inner self. For example, a picture of a burning candle cannot remove the darkness, but a burning candle can remove. Similarly, just following a religion or doing some rituals or scriptural knowledge cannot give us the actual experience of the inner self. It can only give us some knowledge. You can give some knowledge, that's all. In order to experience the inner self, we need to attain the new birth, the self-realization. There are two kinds of happiness. One is happiness derived from the worldly things. It may be a successful blessing or business or a profit or getting children or getting married or a happiness of doing something religious rituals or ceremonies. This happiness is caused and experienced with some external names and forms. They are the happiness. At the same time, they are the happiness of illusion and limitation. In the case of the other, we experience the happiness of the bliss of the unaffected state. Realize that we have attained the consciousness of the self. The first step, if we get something, we are happy. At the same time, if you lose something, we are not happy. It changes our attitudes. We are happy, next time we are sorrow. We feel I have something, after some time I feel having nothing. I feel I am okay, after some time I feel I am not okay. This shift of our attitudes really helps us. By knowing them, we are get realized and we go beyond these dualities of nature and we attain a state of bliss, the consciousness of the self. We experience the happiness of the bliss of the unaffected state. We attain the unaffected state. We are not, naturally we accept so many things, but artificially we are not affected by it. We feel one with the reality. That is the essential experience of self-understanding. Telling people that we are spiritual but not religious is often ended with confusion. Many people used to say, I am spiritual but I am not a religious. People tend to think of spirituality as something very strange and mysterious. They even struggle to differentiate it from religion. They struggle how to differentiate religion and spirituality. But this is only because people in modern society have a fear of being manipulated. We have the fear of being manipulated by religious practices. It is also caused by the lack of knowledge of religion and spirituality. We don't know what is religion, but we do certain practices, that's all. The truth of the matter is that spirituality is perhaps the most natural thing, that is, the truth of the matter is that spirituality is perhaps the most natural thing there is. It is simply our own self-recognizing that we are more than just a body and that we are with infinite potentialities. It is simply our own self-recognizing that we are more than just a body and that we with infinite potentialities. It is not something doing this and that, but in the core itself is understanding that we are going deeper within oneself. It is not limited to some formalities or having some kind of imaginary expectation and hopes, but it is the inner self. It is the inner new birth. It is the consciousness. It is the process taking place within us. So let us be open to the reality that we are called to go within this process of new birth, new understanding, new visions of our own inner self. O Supreme Graceful Light, justice, love and peace be in all beings. Be well, be well, be well. Thank you very much.